Yes, hello, I'd like to place an order. I'll have the orange chicken, some chow mein, and a side of murder. Oh, cherry coke. Hi. Yes, today's video is about murder. Homicide. The thrill of getting high on life by taking someone else's. Just kidding about that last thing, of course. Murder is bad, and you probably shouldn't do it. Unless it's to a delicious animal. Warning, this video contains some images of graphic violence towards strange animal people. Close this video now if you're the type of person who would complain about that sort of thing. Sorry, PETA. Rusty Lake Hotel is an entry in the Cube Escape series, which is a series of web-based games where the player must solve puzzles to escape the room they're in, to advance to the next room, and so on. I've never played any of the other games in this series. In fact, I've never even heard of them until after playing this game. In the Cube Escape universe, Rusty Lake is, well, a lake. Rusty Lake Hotel is a hotel out on a small island within the lake. The owner of this fine establishment, Mr. Owl, has invited 5 guests to get away from their cares for the next week. And he has tasked you with tending to each guest's needs and gathering the necessary ingredients to help make each night's dinner worth dying for. Now let's see if I can remember each guest's name. Okay, so Mr. Deer, Mr. Boar, Mrs. Pigeon, Mrs. Pheasant, and Mr. Gomez? Ah, of course, Mr. Rabbit. My mistake. Each guest will delightfully order you to do a favor for them, which you'll perform in their room later at night. But first, let's get acquainted with the staff. Behind the counter, you have Mr. Crow, who has you greet each of the guests with a shrimp cocktail. In the kitchen, we have Mr. Toad, who tells you to gather the ingredients for each meal. And then, over by the elevator, we have the bellhop, who really freaks me the crap out. Seriously, I just do not trust this guy. He's always staring at you with those intense eyes. And when you ride the elevator, he's like right there, and I'm always half expecting him to attack me or something. And it doesn't help that when you click to talk to him, all he ever does is this. At first, I thought he was a weird cat, but I eventually found out that he is indeed a bat. But more on that later. Alright, so let's take a look at the menu and see what we need to gather. Okay, so first recipe on the menu, we need mushrooms, which are strangely supplied to us via a painting of Mr. Owl in the lobby. Some rosemary, which I stupidly missed, and deer meat. Okay, that seems a little insensitive to have deer on the menu when one of your guests is in fact a deer. What else is on here? The next recipe calls for tomatoes, red wine, and boar ribs. Wait a minute. Pheasant breast? Rabbit leg? Pigeon wing? Oh my gosh. Do you see what's going on here? Not a single thing on this menu is vegan. That is such discrimination. Each night, someone dumps a bunch of Kool-Aid mix into the lake and everything gets real spooky. This is when you take a very uncomfortable elevator ride to one of the upper floors and assist one guest with their request and gather the special ingredient required for the next night's meal. You do this by entering one guest's room each night and solving a series of sometimes strange and obtuse puzzles. If you've ever played any other room escape games, it's very similar to those. Except in this case, instead of escaping the room, your ultimate goal is to straight up murder the guest in each room and take their meat for the next night's meal. Except you can't leave the room until you've done so I guess it's that too. In the interest of those watching this video who might want to try this game, I'm going to avoid spoiling the solutions to any of the puzzles. Just know that they are fun and really make you think, but some of them, in my opinion, have that how would I ever figure this out without a walkthrough sort of vibe, which, I won't lie, I had to use a few times. Like this puzzle, where you have to trap a beetle on this board by placing stones on a grid and make sure it can't escape off the sides. I must have tried at least a dozen times before looking at the walkthrough, and even that wasn't foolproof. When Mr. Deer asks you to make him a Bloody Mary, there's this puzzle where you have to swish water back and forth between these beakers, until you figure out the right combination to get exactly 8 ounces into the 10-ounce beaker. I was probably at it for a good 20 minutes or so before finally giving up and watching the walkthrough video. Also, I don't know what goes into a Bloody Mary, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't actually involve real blood. So, how am I to know that I have to get the blood from Mr. Deer himself, who doesn't even so much as react to the fact that I just cut one of his antlers? Alright, Mr. Deer is dead. I've done the deed, and now it's time to hand in the precious meat treasure I found hiding in his flesh. And with that, dinner is served. Oh my god. Oh, they're really doing it. They're eating him. They're eating him and they don't even know. He was your friend. Well, you sat by him in the boat ride here and kinda hung around him silently in the lobby. Each night you repeat the process by entering another guest's room, carrying out their request, solving elaborate puzzles, and then gathering the ingredient you came for once the guest has been disposed of. The neat part is, you can enter each guest room in any order. Like in Mega Man! There is, however, an optimal order you can go in to gather all the necessary parts. Like in Mega Man! I went in the best order possible to gather all the optional ingredients, but I wasn't super duper paying attention, and I still managed to forget to grab a couple of them. Remember how I mentioned Mr. Bat really freaks me out, and I said I would talk about how I found out that he's a bat? Well, here's how that experience went. On night 3, before heading into the elevator, if you look out the lobby window, you'll see a shooting star. After you see this shooting star, the room goes very dark. Well, that's odd. Hey, Mr. Bellhop, did you see that?
Mr. Bellhop? Where'd you go?
So yeah, the dark room apparently leads Mr. Bat to stripping his clothes and very creepily hanging from the ceiling, staring at you with glowing eyes. And you have to look around the lobby and click on him until the lights turn back on. At which point, Mr. Bat will promptly return to his post and reward you with potatoes. Thank you. That's what I always wanted. So yeah, Rusty Lake Hotel is pretty neat, and it's only $2. In fact, you can even download it on your smartphone, and at least on the Google Play Store, you can find most of the other Cube Escape games for free. I don't really know how to end this video. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to see more, feel free to check out one of these other videos you see here on the screen, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You can also follow me by looking up The Portly Gamer on the social networks below.